And on the line with us is Valerie Ervin. She is the senior advisor to the Working Families Party. WorkingFamilies.org is the website. You can tweet her at Valerie, V-A-L-E-R-I-E, Ervin, E-R-V-I-N, or at Working Families. Valerie, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on our radio show. You're a regular on our TV show.
Yes.
The Working Parties family, among other parties. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about the Working Families Party. Excuse me.
Yeah, well, the Working Families Party's been around for 19 years, and it really, we like to consider ourselves the Tea Party of the left. We're really engaged in electing more and more progressive Democrats to challenge corporate Dems all over the country in state houses and mayoral races and city council races and sometimes at the federal level. And so we are branding ourselves as a party, and in 3 states right now we do exist as an actual party and have a ballot line. And in the other states, we're just working to move the party to the left.
But generally speaking, much like the Tea Party works inside the Republican Party to move it to the right, you're working inside the Democratic Party to take it back to its Lyndon Johnson, Great Society, FDR, New Deal roots. Do I have that right?
You have it right, absolutely.
Okay. So you guys are organizing over 50 community meetings for folks this week to plan resistance against Donald Trump throughout the week. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so we're calling, quote-unquote, emergency meetings across the country, and in a lot of places we don't even have organizations on the ground, but people really are trying to find themselves a home after the debacle of the presidential election campaign cycle. People are finding themselves really adrift and lost in what will be in the years to come a country that has to be more than a two-party system. So people are just organically calling for these emergency meetings, and in the states where we exist, we're kind of leading that effort, and it's been pretty extraordinary. We're thinking 100 or 200 people will show up at a meeting, and 1,000 people show up at a meeting. So there is a lot going on out there in the real world, outside the bubble of Washington, D.C., where I live, where people are really sort of marching with their feet into a new era, I think, in politics in this country.
What sort of resistance to Donald Trump, or to basically, first of all, is this resistance to his ideology, his cabinet picks, his legislative agenda, the overall Republican agenda, him specifically, as in the Million Woman March that's going to happen the day after the inauguration, on January 21st. What nature of resistance are you talking about?
Well, if you ever go to one of these emergency meetings, what's coming out of them is all of the above. Mm-hmm. That people are not really happy with the Democrats already folding up their tents and going along to get along. And so
a lot of Democrats are not doing that, Valerie.
A lot aren't doing it, but it depends on what you're hearing. So that remains to be seen what Donald Trump's first 100 days are going to be like. We already know what it looks like in terms of his cabinet picks. But where is he going to go legislatively now that the Republicans control both houses of Congress? There's so much going on, everything from this infrastructure bill to many things that we care about on the left, like climate change. And so there is a lot of conversation going on about climate change in particular, and about how to get people back to work, and what the infrastructure bill actually would look like if it was done in a way that didn't just favor corporate interests.
Right.
So there's a lot of conversations like that happening inside these emergency meetings. In
a certain way, we're using the frames of these hardcore right-wing corporatists by saying that we're on the left. To the best of my knowledge, every single issue you've mentioned, from climate change to good jobs to job security to education, things like this, these are not leftist positions. These are not even far left or radical left positions. These are positions that are held by anywhere from 60 to 90% of all Americans, including most Republicans. You're talking about an all-American platform, not a left platform.
Well, I actually, I stand corrected, because the words that we do choose to describe the work that we're engaged in is really important. And the term left is not one that I would have normally described myself as either, but in the context of the current world we live in, we are really going to have to grapple with how we describe that world. And so I think clearly Republicans got the message.
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't go around and say, "Hey, I'm a hard right guy."
Exactly.
You know, they say, "I'm all American. I'm a patriot." And I think we need to be saying the same thing.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Okay. So if people want to learn more about, you've got this hashtag, Not My President. You've got another hashtag, The Resistance. If people want to know more about, what the Working Families Party is doing, particularly in the area of supporting the Democratic Party to move forward and to move forward legislative agendas that are supportive of working people, where can they find that information?
Again, you laid it out at the top of the show. Go to workingfamilies.org, and it's a really great website, and you can find out a lot more about these emergency meetings and how to contact us state by state. We're in 12 states right now, doing a lot of really good electoral work on the ground. So
that's marvelous.
Yes.
That's marvelous. Valerie Ervin, Senior Advisor to the Working Families Party, workingfamilies.org is the website. Valerie, thanks for dropping by today.
Thanks, Thom.
Great talking with you. It is so cool to find people who are actually doing the work. We all need to be actually doing it. We'll be right back.